Welcome back to the Commercial Real Estate Show. I'm Michael Bull. Today we're talking about retail and retail real estate. Please welcome my next guest. It's Mark Toro. He's with North American Properties. Now, North American Properties has been around since 1954. They've done $5 billion with a B worth of property development and acquisitions all across the country. Mark, thanks for joining us here in Studio One.
Thanks for having me, Michael.
Well, we appreciate it. And you guys have had some great developments, and it seemed like cutting-edge retail and mixed-use development. So I'm sure my audience has a lot of questions for you, but I get to be the one to ask them, right? So experiential retail, I've heard that from you. Tell our audience about that.
Well, I think in response to e-commerce, to combat the fact that anybody can buy anything from anywhere sitting in traffic or on their sofa. And it's an opportunity for a retailer to create an experience to get people into the store. So think of the Apple Genius Bar, or cooking classes in Whole Foods, yoga classes at Lululemon, fly casting at Orvis. It's the opportunity to get people out from behind their keyboards and into their stores and buying their stuff.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. You got to get them away from the keyboard, right? Away from their phone. Get them out there to the places like Avalon that you guys have done, and Atlantic Station, and a lot of these projects are ones that I think people around the country have looked at. And one of the things that you guys have done well, and maybe breaking ground with it, is social media. And tell us how you've used social media to drive traffic for your tenants and just get awareness of your projects.
Well, Atlantic Station probably was the best example early in the process. 5 years ago, we acquired that asset that was deeply troubled. And we polled the community through social media, Facebook and Twitter, and even early Instagram and others. What was it that they would like for us to do with that property? How would they like to see it re-merchandised? How would they like to have the experience created for them? This is the community that we're serving.
And if you don't know about Atlantic Station, it's 586,000 square feet, the part that you guys have. And it was a lot of retail mix restaurant, but it really wasn't doing well. So you guys had a big challenge to change that, and you did a good job.
Right, it was suffering, and we took it from about 80% leased down to 70 as we de-leased, got rid of some non-performers. We recently got it to close to 95% leased, added $140 a square foot in sales, which may be the most significant stat. But we, over the course of about a 5-year hold, we led the industry in the use of social media to drive sales for our retailers. That's a statement of fact, because we had the highest clout score of any commercial property in the U.S. The Grove, Cosmopolitan, Mall of America. We use Twitter, we use Facebook, we use Instagram. We have a very active YouTube channel where we're seeing 150,000 views. So whatever your weapon of choice is, we're going to serve you. So if you were to come to Atlantic Station and tweet some customer service question, you would hear back from us in a few minutes, virtually any time of the day, any day of the week.
That's amazing. Now, is that also working in conjunction with the omni-channel marketing that your tenants are doing and that you're doing for your developments?
It is. So in addition to the experiential aspect of the in-store shopping experience, each of our retailers is becoming online, or in some cases, online retailers are becoming bricks and mortar. So at Avalon, we have Bonobos, which was a strictly online retailer, and a number of others that started either in catalog or online. Soft Surroundings is another. Started in catalog or online. Athleta, maybe the third, and then started to build bricks and mortar stores. So they had a very strong e-commerce platform that they added physical stores to. And then obviously we're seeing the reverse as the case as well.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And how did these type of tenants, whether they came from online in the beginning or they started at bricks and mortar and now they're doing more online and they're omni-channel marketing. How do they look at percentage rent when you guys bring that up?
That was a big battle when this first came about. I'll be honest with you, I'm not sure how we deal with it in our lease, but it's a relatively inconsequential piece of the puzzle. Who gets the credit if you buy it online and return it to the store? Who gets the credit if you buy it in one store and return it to another, in relative to the sales for that store? But it so far has not really risen to the profile that we're going to be concerned about it.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because you guys do a great job of bringing traffic to these developments with all the mixed uses and all the events and things that you do. So there's certainly some benefit to what you do that would increase sales and that you might need to be reimbursed for with percentage rent. And so I think it's probably going to grow in importance for the tenants and for landlords. Well, stay with us. We're going to have more. I'm going to ask Mark about some of the tenants he's seeing and who's expanding, what are sales. Stay with us. I'm Michael Bull. This is the Commercial Real Estate Show. We'll be right back. The Commercial Real Estate Show is brought to you in part by your friends at Bull Realty. When your business requires proven performance, visit bullrealty.com or call 800-408-BULL. Welcome back to the Commercial Real Estate Show. I'm Michael Bull. Today we're talking about retail and retail real estate. We have Mark Toro here in Studio One with North American Properties. And Mark, you guys are dealing with these tenants every day. Well, how are they doing? Are their sales per square foot improving? Are they? What do you see?
I think nationally, if you asked a random sampling of retailers, you might get the sense that they're challenged. There are certain segments of the market that are being embraced by certain sub-markets, right? So, for instance, the Midtown Atlanta market might be different than a suburban market in Metro Atlanta, different than a Chicago suburb or Southern California. And this consumer preference is driving the retailers that are expanding, because the retailers that are doing well are those that are going to seek new locations.
And who is expanding?
So we recently signed leases with Madewell and Bonobos, two great brands that are resonating with today's consumer. There are lots of others who are maybe more top of mind: Anthropologie, Lululemon, Free People, their Whole Foods, Regal Cinemas. A lot of those mainstays are continuing to do well. And then there are other retailers that are, and I won't name them, that are more challenged with their sales and the embrace that they're receiving in the community that are not expanding.
Okay. And I have to ask you about Avalon, because our listeners have heard about Avalon from other guests on the show. And if you haven't heard about Avalon, this is 8.3 acres. It is 2.5 million square feet of mixed-use space. But get this is about 20 or so miles north of downtown Atlanta. So this is the real suburbs, right? But you guys are having some success there, that you're getting rents that we're getting in the highest rents in Atlanta. How are you doing that?
Well, first of all, Avalon is what we call the region's first urban burb. So it's an urban environment in a suburban setting at 2.5 million square feet, 4-star full-service hotel, conference center, 500,000 square feet of office, 526 multifamily residential units, 101 single-family residential units, 500,000 square feet of retail, and 100,000 square feet of loft office. Each of those uses is drawing energy from the other. So the first phase is now open and operating almost a year. The second phase starts construction in November. And the embrace by the community has driven sales in the retail. So we have retailers that are doing $1,200-ish a square foot. We have restaurants, 3 of them that are number one in their chains.
Wow.
There are the office space is now 90% leased at Buckhead rents. And the single-family residential is selling at literally 2 times what it costs per square foot to buy a home nearby.
And that's key. And I don't want our listeners that are around the country to get this. This is a mixed-use development where you guys are getting rents that are kind of double what any rent would be within 3 or 5 miles of that site. I mean, if someone's looking for office space in that area, you guys are the most expensive by far, and you're getting it.
And the reason is because there's no other opportunity to have that street level experience. I saw Don Wood recently with Federal Realty who says it best. If you get the street right, everything else takes care of itself. So those multifamily residential units that are leasing for $2.25 a square foot, which is eclipsing Midtown and Buckhead rents, are doing so only because that resident can't have that somewhere else. And we're seeing a very interesting resident profile. These folks are average age in the low 40s and average household income of $250,000 a year, which is almost double what the average household income in the trade area is. So they're trading in their lives in their suburban homes. They're selling the house in the cul-de-sac and moving into an apartment so that they can have an urban lifestyle.
That's interesting. And you also have events there, right, that bring traffic. So what kind of events do you have in a suburban market like that? Because I think of most mixed-use developments today of being more urban.
So we will this year, and we're going to celebrate our first birthday in about 2 weeks. This year we'll have hosted 250 events, and they're everything from what we call Little Acorns, which is kind of a mom's morning out, go out into the plaza and bring your toddlers, to significant events like Derby Day, which is it's a kind of a horsey community, Alpharetta, and the Kentucky Derby is a big thing. So we are lucky enough to have what we call the open container policy, and you can walk from restaurant to restaurant with your cocktail and enjoy your day and your evening at your leisure. So the idea is to bring the community onto the property, expose them to the offering during the wintertime or during the holidays. We build a skating rink exactly the same size as Rockefeller Center, and last year we had 40,000 skaters. During the summertime, that turns into sort of an all-purpose event lawn. It's important to have those public spaces to bring the community onto the property so that they'll shop, dine, and recreate.
Interesting. How much pushback, or did you get any pushback from these retail tenants that are going to be paying the highest rental rates in a 5-mile radius that anyone's ever paid to start and move into a project like that and hope that it was going to work?
Well, much like the traditional new build shopping center, if you want to use that phrase, we don't use that anymore. Yeah. The retailer is going to look to his co-tenant, and he's going to look to the next one and the next one. It's kind of a lemming mentality, and they all hold hands and jump in the pool together. So we opened 55 retailers on one day, October 30th of last year, and each of those retailers was looking to the other to give them comfort that they were all going to coexist well together, and it's been successful. The second phase there's only another 80,000 square feet to add to the 400 in phase one. So they have phase one sales to look to understand what their rents can support.
Well, congratulations. Nice project, and I think a lot of people are looking at it all around the country. So, Mark, thanks for joining us, and stay with us. We'll have more on retail and retail real estate. I'm Michael Bull. This is the Commercial Real Estate Show. We'll be right back. The Commercial Real Estate Show is brought to you by Bull Realty, a great place to do business. RealNex, software for productivity. Xceligent, information for the professionals. And Commercial Search, properties for sale and lease. To access these companies or for additional videos, podcasts, and articles, visit creshow.com.